Hey everyone, Andy here with Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. Today's Sunday, July 17th, and I'll be bringing you your fishing forecast for the week. Looks like the early part of this week is going to bring us a little bit of rain. We've got a chance today and tomorrow. And then by Wednesday, we start to just get sunny and hot. So the early part of the week is going to kind of determine where our water levels are at and in part how our fishing is going to be later on. Doesn't look like we have any big, huge, significant rains. Kind of the same thing that we've been continuing to get this year, which is great. You know, enough rainfall to keep us at or above average flow on most of our rivers at least, and not too much. So we really haven't had to have a bunch of cancellations and high water events. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that things stay like that and we continue to have good fishable water levels without getting bone dry and without getting blown out either. So brook trout fishing, we're definitely starting to get on the low side of things. You can still do it, but if it was me and I was going trout fishing, I'd probably pick some other options. But for those of you who do want to go in the brook trout streams up high in the mountains, you know, same thing we've been talking about here, ants, beetles, those are going to be your best flies, smaller attractor dry flies as well. Fish a dry dropper if you're wanting to maximize your chances. But again, if you're really just trying to get a trout fix and you want your best options, I'd probably stay a little bit lower, hit the spring creeks. They're in great shape. We've got full water on Mossy and Beaver. They're fishing well. Same flies, beetles and ants are fishing great, but you've got a little bit better water temperatures, a little bit more flow. Fish are probably going to be a little bit more active on them as well. Had great reports this week from folks out at both. We had some big fish caught on both Mossy and Beaver, and lots of fish just caught on the surface. So good time to get out and do that. Early morning is still going to be your best bet. Tricos are still out. And then again, the rest of the day, fishing your terrestrial bugs will be your better bet. And you can always catch fish out there on nymphs and streamers, especially if we get a little bit of rain in the water, clouds up for a cloud to go through and put on some of your larger nymphs and your streamers and fish that stuff as well. And you'll find real active fish that are willing to chase this time of year. You can also run out and hit our tailwater rivers. They're going to be fishing great water temps, you know, in the upper 50s, low 60s. So good water temps to fish all day long. You got to drive a little bit more. You may have to work a little bit harder. But if you're somebody who really wants to keep trout fishing through, you know, the hottest times of the year, tailwaters are going to be a great spot for you to head to. You can catch fish on the surface at them. You can catch fish on streamers. You can catch fish on nymphs. You know, water temps, when they get to that point, trout become super active, and you know, you can kind of catch them on all sorts of stuff. And you'll find that they'll push up into a lot of our faster water too. So if you're fishing somewhere like the Jackson, don't be afraid to fish some of those fast whitewater pockets. You'll find fish really push into those and stack up and take advantage of all that oxygen and food that's coming down to them. A lot of the times a big heavy stone fly in a spot like that is a great effective way to get those fish to eat. Get your fly down quick so that they have a chance to see it before you get pulled out. Now, on our smallmouth rivers, we're fishing great. We had really good reports all week. Folks out today are catching fish on topwater frogs, game changers, all sorts of stuff. You know, this time of year with smallmouth too, they're spread out. They're in all sorts of water type. You can dredge bottom with crayfish and catch fish. You can fish moving baits like your game changers, Murdich minnows, CK bait fish, all that stuff, and do pretty well. And a lot of days we're going to have great topwater fishing. So we'll watch the forecast here, and we hope to see that the river doesn't bump up too much as it continues to drop. We're starting to get better and better sight fishing opportunities. We're starting to see carp feed in a lot of your shallows, and the river's just getting to that good kind of summer level where you can really kind of hammer the banks a lot of days with topwater flies and do great. So if you're going out early morning, I'd start with a searching bait, something that's moving like a Murdich minnow or a bait fish, and you know, just pay attention, watch as you go, see if you're spooking fish from underneath of you and what kind of water types they're holding in, and then change as needed. You know, if you start seeing a bunch of bugs and fish jumping out all over the place, obviously at that point it's going to be most effective likely and a lot of fun to switch over to a topwater bug. And then again, carp fishing too this time of year as the river gets lower. Sight fishing opportunities become great, and you can target these fish as you see them up on these shallow flats. So smart to keep a little crayfish or a little carp fly rigged up and ready to go as you float through. If you see the opportunity, cast to them. They'll definitely eat a fly, and they're a ton of fun to catch. So that kind of brings us to the end for this week. Keep an eye on our social media for updates as we go through. If we have any big rainfall changes, we'll let you all know. But hope everybody gets out and enjoys the week, and we will see you again next week.